Let's get more on this now from Durham in the UK is Professor Tom Brooks, Dean and Professor of Law and Government at Durham Law School. Thanks so much for your time. What do you think the likelihood this vote will pass? There's a lot who don't believe it will.
I think it's close to zero. I think it will be remarkable if indeed there's a majority of more than 200 against it. But we're looking at potentially the largest revolt against a government in modern times. Really remarkable.
And it's all about Brexit. We say that the defeat, if this happens, would throw their plans into disarray. Whenever you say the word Brexit these days, it almost feels like the word disarray follows.
Well, I think that's right. There's an awful mess here. And I think that to some degree, this is all very much of the Prime Minister's doing. And what I mean by that is that she put together this plan, kept it largely from her cabinet until September. And that's when we started seeing resignations from high-profile members of her cabinet, like former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, amongst many others. And then when it came to Parliament for a vote and she saw that she was looking like she was going to lose it then, she decided to effectively postpone it until effectively the last available minutes to kind of force MPs into supporting it. But without any new ideas, without any changes, this letter produced today in order to help kind of convince some reluctant members of Parliament will do anything but that, effectively reaffirming that there isn't any change to the deal. And it makes you wonder, why is the Prime Minister going forward with this, other than the fact, well, for 2 years, this is all she's got to show for it. It seems there might not be a plan B after all.
Well, that was my next question. What is the plan B here? Because we saw a lot of movement over the past week where they've really backed Theresa May into a corner. If this doesn't go ahead, and as you say, there's close to zero chance that it will, what happens the day after?
Well, a few things can happen. So the first thing that should happen in terms of the procedure is that the government has effectively 3 working days to come back to the House of Commons with a plan that can be amended by members of the House of Commons. So many people expect if the Prime Minister goes there, she doesn't really have anything else. And she'll try something, probably some deal, back again. But her lose all control over the debates and the process. And other members of Parliament can try to see if they can form a majority for their view. I think in the word disarray you use, I think you're going to see an awful lot of that to follow. Because at the moment, while there seems to be more support for something like Britain staying in a union, being something like the status of Norway versus other alternatives like a no-deal Brexit, there isn't a majority for any option on the table. So short of a referendum or a new general election, it's unclear what exactly the government can do to draw a line under this process and move the country forward.
Professor Tom Brooks, we're having a few issues with the line. We'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your insight into that. We'll touch base with you, as we say, a pretty big day ahead for Theresa May and her government as Brexit, essentially those plans in disarray if she can't get this through Parliament. Let's return home now. A government campaign